Do you think you know king and pawn endgames? Well, you'd be surprised how many players mess up winning king and pawn endgames. I'm going to fix this right now. In this video, I'm going to show you how to win king and pawn endgames, even in time pressure. Anyway, let's dive in. Okay, all right, let's start the first puzzle. 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead. Okay, so for king and pawn, your king wants to be in front of the pawn. We don't want to push the pawn in front of the king. We want to use the king as like a bulldozer and kind of pave the way for the pawn to queen. So I just get king opposition, right? When the kings are facing each other and it's my opponent's move, he has to sidestep. And now I just guard the queening square. And now I pave the way for my pawn to promote. Very, very simple. And now I'm just going to finish it off. How do you finish this off? I just keep on making the board as small as possible for my opponent. He went to the last rank, so I don't let him back in. And now my king comes in, and we have checkmate. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so this one, okay, so first of all, I get my king into the game. I don't want to push because that will lead to a draw. And now what to do here? If I push, he's going to come here. Now he has king opposition, and it's going to be a draw. So I might want to come around. He comes here, I come here, he comes here, then I push, and that looks like the way to go here. And again, I just guard the queening square, and again, I queen. Now, anytime, this is like very, the reason why it's so important to know these is because not only can you go astray, but a lot of times we get to this part of the game, the end game, we're in time trouble, so you want to really be sharp with it, and you want to be sharp like on time as well, right? You want to just know it. Okay, the third puzzle. Now he has a pawn. However, now I have to do some work. I have to outflank him. If I come here, he's going to get king opposition. Notice that the theme of this video is going to be king opposition. If your kings are facing each other, you want it to be your opponent's move. Therefore, he has to sidestep, then we outflank. If I come here, he's going to get king opposition on me, and he's going to start outflanking me. For that reason, I'm coming this way, and now I get king opposition on him. Again, I'm going to start outflanking him, and again, if I come here, he gets king opposition, so I'm going to come here. Now I get king opposition. The kings are facing each other. I get king opposition again. I get king opposition again. Now I take, and now I get king opposition one more time and guard the queening square. Ooh, but this is actually tricky. If I push, it's a draw here because his king's in the corner. So I have to do some work here. Let's say I come this way instead, and now I guard. So I kick him out of the corner first. A little tricky there. Don't want to stalemate. And I just make the board as small as possible for the king. So I'm just going to use my king to get in there. And now I can push him to the last rank by the queen just going in front of the king. And now once he gets to the last rank, I go to the second last rank. I don't let him back into the game. And now we have checkmate. All right, the fourth one. Again, if you understand king opposition, you can apply this to any king and pawn position. Even though it's a little bit different, I immediately know what to do, and I start outflanking. See, I go king opposition. Here, I don't want to push the pawn because then he'll have king opposition. That's a draw. So I come up again. Let's see. I can waste a couple of moves here, it looks like. If I get king opposition and come here, I do guard the queening square, but is my pawn too close to him? Yeah, it's too close to him. So I can afford to push a pawn here. I'll push the pawn one more time, and now I'll get king opposition. Now I outflank, guard the queening square. So all very simple stuff here. Again, I'm going to make the board as small as possible for my opponent. I'm just going to keep on taking away whatever he goes. I'm just going to go to the next rank. Now I push my king in. He goes to the last rank, and now we have check. All right. I like this one. This one's a really good one. So this comes up sometimes in real games. And so you have to have 3 pawns on 3 pawns, so it's completely symmetrical. And also the king has to be really far from intercepting the pawns, which the king is here. And now what we do here is this is just memorization. You have to move the middle pawn, and that's the first step. Now, whichever way he takes, we move. If he takes with this pawn, we push the opposite pawn. If he took with that pawn, I would push this pawn. So you move the middle one, and then whatever pawn he takes with, so in other words, he takes with the H pawn, so we don't push our H pawn, we push the opposite one, the F pawn. Now the point is, if he took this, I would have taken this pawn and just promoted, but since he took this one, I don't take, I just pass him, and now I have a queen, and now he cannot stop. Obviously, this is a winning position. I'll just show you how I clean it up. And now I just have to stop that pawn, which should not be too hard here. And now we have the queen and king here. So now I'm just going to cut the board, make it as small as possible. He went to the last rank. So now I keep him back there. And now we have checkmate. All right. Well, hopefully you found that video helpful. And I think a lot of players, they miss this, common principle of king opposition. But this is very important. I see a lot of players make this mistake, especially when they're in time trouble. So hopefully this video really helps you out. If you felt like it did, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss further content. And check out this video. It's also another good one. Get out of here. Go play some chess.